So do you mind walking us through that process? Like while you were doing your challenges, you failed before. So what did you change? What was the change of approach this time?
I think the change was
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another interview with one of our SFT funded traders. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with RJ. How are you doing today, RJ?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you. So, do you mind just walking us through your trading journey?
Yeah, so I started trading 2020, just before the pandemic hit.
Oh,
My friend uh got into Forex trading, I think trading gold with FTMO,
yeah.
and he was just talking about it, and I was just like, oh yeah, sounds fun. And I'm a really competitive person by nature, so my my first reaction was like, well, I reckon I can be better than him.
Mm.
I was humbled straight away. So I think from 2020 to 2021, I was trying to practice for the FTMO challenge, but just blew my account twice, like just my
Mm.
personal account. Um, and then COVID hit, and then just took me for a ride. Just I guess it was the good part about COVID was you're stuck inside, so you had to knuckle down and do something. So I tried to practice, went through many different strategies. And then I was like, all right, I think I'm ready. Rushed into the FTMO challenge, had a crack at it, failed. And then, yeah, then took a break. I think I was just so emotionally, mentally burnt out. Um, Mainly because I'm in Australia. I like trading the New York session. That's like 10 to 1 a.m. here. So
Mm.
just physically exhausted as well. Um, then yeah, then I've always been looking at the charts here and there, even though I wasn't um, actively trading. Just see ideas here and there. And then start of this year, I had my first baby girl come into the world,
Mm.
and
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah,
You're
and it's
welcome.
inspired me to um, something I really wanted was like time freedom. I think a lot of people talk about financial freedom, but and how that came on was where I work, I have to drive an hour there, hour back. And by the time I get back from work, it's 6 p.m. My daughter sleeps at 8. So I only really have like an hour of quality time with her. So the good thing about having a baby is that they sleep, she sleeps at 8. So
Mhm.
I have all this time from like 8 to 2, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. to just practice. So I was like, yeah, um, I just saw, I don't know how it started coming up on my algorithm on Instagram, but I started seeing your boy Paladin on my feed. I'm not sure how, but then, yeah, then I saw he launched um, a new prop firm. So I was like, okay, maybe I can have another crack. More motivated, maybe more mature now. So yeah, just started practicing, probably practiced from March to June. I'm just
Mm.
back testing. And then when I had enough data, I thought I'd go for it, signed up for a challenge, and yeah, here I am.
Mm. Nice. And you said this is your
Yeah,
first funded account as well. So that's very
yeah,
exciting that,
yeah.
a lot of people don't pass the account and then get a payout. So congratulations on that. Um, so do you mind walking us through that process? Like while you were doing your challenges, you failed before. So what did you change? What was the change of approach this time?
I think the change was when I did my first challenge for FTMO. I kind of rushed into it because, I was a lot younger then, kind of chased like the Lambo life, you
Mm,
chase
yeah.
the high life.
Yeah.
And now my motivation, I feel like now my motivation and my why is different. So I wanted to, before I invested in doing a challenge, I made sure I had enough data to make sure whatever my edge or whatever I was seeing the market at least had, positive returns. Because at the end of the day, like market gives you what it gives you. So yeah, if you don't have a strategy, you can't have the expectation that you're going to do well.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it was
Okay.
very different. Like going through each phase was a lot different. Like you pass phase one, and it's just like, man, you have to reset again. And you do
Mm-hmm.
phase two, it's a lot. Even though the target is less, it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like I guess it's good because it teaches you consistency. Because if you didn't have the account reset to try to get 6%, it's like you don't have that cushion
Mm-hmm. Right.
of 8%. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you feel like you were kind of like you were different going into the new challenge. So was that did you like decrease your risk for your challenge this time?
Um, I wouldn't say decrease my risk. It's
Okay.
before I didn't really have a risk management plan. So
Okay. So more
yeah,
strategy
so
basically. Okay.
yeah, more strategy and making sure I stuck to it. Making sure that I only risked 1 to 1.5%, depending on what kind of setup it was. And then yeah, just I guess like with a lot of traders, like the psychology side, how to deal with the loss, like having that under wraps because you're gonna have losers. And it's more about how can you bounce back from a setback.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And like how do you feel like you're currently dealing with losses?
Oh, I'm learning that now. If you look at my
Mm-hmm.
account, I'm all down at the moment.
Yeah.
It's just I think just having a just with any sport or anything that
Mm-hmm.
you're doing, you need to have a strategy of because when you're playing like I love basketball, you're not always going to be ahead. And just because you're not winning in a game doesn't mean you should change strategy. Maybe you got to change things a little bit so that, because at the end of the day, with like a funded account, it's important that you just keep it alive. You're trying to protect capital. Um, and yeah, it's just sticking to it. Just remembering like why you started.
Yeah.
And I think if your why is so focused around money,
Mm-hmm.
then I don't know. I feel like yeah, if it was focused around money, you'd be chasing it, and if you chase that, I feel like you put a lot of pressure on each trade.
Mm-hmm.
So if you lose, like even if if you have like so much confidence in your edge, and I'm not saying that I'm there as like a top tier trader. For all I know, I might lose the account, but at the end of the day, it's a long journey.
Right.
Like whether
Exactly.
whether I lose or whether I lose or keep the account, it's like okay, if I lose it, it's a setback. If I keep it, great. And I'm just gotta learn how to deal with drawdown. But that's part of the journey. Like the market, as I said, the market gives you what it gives you, and you're gonna have losing streaks, you're gonna have winning streaks. It's just how do you deal with both?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you journal by chance? I know a lot of people say that's helpful for them.
Yeah, I did journal. I only have I don't I just have a physical journal. I don't have I see a lot of like traders out there have like try TradeZella and they have
Mm-hmm.
their own Excel. I need to get onto that. But yeah, I just have a personal journal. I just put in the time, what kind of entry, because I have like three different entries.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what time, what entry, and what was the result, and then how did that trade turn out? Whether if I moved to break even, um, if I held that, if I held my risk, would it have played out? If I hit stop loss, like could I have done anything different? If I win, was it a win that was in my playbook?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's kind
Okay.
of the things I review on the weekend.
Right. So it's for your journaling, it's mainly just technicals. You really don't journal your psychology too much.
No, I have my wife for that. Like that's I guess that's the thing. Like if it wasn't for her, like I don't think I would be in this position right now
Yeah.
because she's like my like biggest inspiration, my accountability partner. And I think that's important. Like one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I'm struggling with here in Australia is, well, maybe I just don't know, but I wouldn't say trading is such a big thing here.
Mm.
And it's hard to find like people face to face to like talk about trade ideas or talk about things that you're struggling with or talking about, like psychology. Yeah, it's just hard to find that here. So my wife's been a good help, I guess. To just like
Yeah.
meant to just remembering the why,
Right.
remembering
Did
what.
she trade as well?
No, no, she doesn't.
No. Okay. Well, that's fine. So I think that is very important. Like I know a lot of people join like trading communities so they can have that like community to help them throughout their journey. Are you a part
Yeah.
of a community right now or no?
No, I'm not. It's kind
Okay.
of lonely out here. I do want to find them. I'm like, um, I prefer face to face. I don't know if that's
Hmm.
just old school. It's hard for me to find connection over like over the internet. I mean, we're not unless we're doing like video calls, which you don't
Hmm.
really find in like Discord and stuff like that. But yeah, that's something that I think would help a lot, just to bounce
Right.
ideas. Because yeah, because I reckon there's a lot of ideas out there, and there's people that can critique what I see, and
Yeah,
without that, like without iron sharpens iron, like I just stay the
exactly.
way I am. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So I know like you were inspired by your friends to get into trading. So how exactly did you learn? Did you find a mentor or were you mainly self-taught?
Self-taught. He
Okay.
he actually taught me just like how things work, like what's a
Okay.
candle, like how does a candle work. Um, he was trading, I think Fibonacci and support and resistance, and then I kind of learned from that. But then, as all new traders, you just flip flop between all these different strategies until you find one that works for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Okay. Well, do you mind sharing your screen and kind of going over how you view the market?
yeah, sure. So usually, what I do, so I usually trade London because in Australia, London is uh, in the afternoon, New York's at night. But usually when I come to the charts, I usually go top down as so I usually go by the week. This is just pound yen. Um, so I usually look at this. So when I look at this, I'm just like, all right, what am I looking at the past week? So this is the week that we're currently in. So let's just say that's not there. I'm looking at this candle. So you can see there's a level here. There's like support, and for 4 weeks, or let's say for a month, it's failed to break down. So last week is good because if you look over here on the left, there's all this range to fill. So coming into this week, which is this candle, I was like, all right, my bias for this week is I'm anticipating for price to fill this range. So then I moved down to the daily. And same thing here. So this was the weekly uh, support that it broke through. And usually when I go into a trading session, I just look at the previous day, or I look at like what the trend is, and if you see uh, there's a high here, lower high, lower, so it's in a downtrend. And
Hmm.
as I was saying, from the weekly candle, I'm expecting it to fill the range, like this range, and possibly over the next days, maybe this range. But tomorrow's Friday, so maybe the range is already filled. Maybe you might make a top wick, not sure, but um, this range down here was what I was kind of targeting for this week. Then I'll go to the 4 hour because the 4 hour kind of tells you what was the session that you had, what happened the session before that I traded. So if I'm trading London, the last 4 hours would have been Asian. So look, see what are the resistance levels there, because you can see for the past few days it's just been ranging, then a
Hmm.
breakdown. So if let's say this candle didn't exist and I saw that this breakdown, my bias for my session would be sells, if that makes sense.
Hmm. So are you trading the breakout?
I just trade price action. So usually what I look for, which I'll go back down. So then I usually trade in the 30-minute interval, and I'll just show a trade that I took a few days ago. Okay, so if I go to the 30-minute, which one was it? Yeah, it was back here. All right, so I'll just remove this for now. Okay. Okay, so I was just this to say this hasn't existed yet. This was the session I was trading. It kind of looked like this. Uh, yeah, kind of looked like that. So I mark my resistance. That is, there's one here. So I was actually looking at this level here.
You were looking at which one? I'm sorry.
Level here. And if you remember in my weekly, when I was looking at this trade, like none of this happened. I was looking, it was kind of, this is what it was looking like before I traded. So I was looking at this level. So these are my support and resistance levels for the 30-minute. But if you remember, my bias for the week was bearish. In the weekly, it broke, it finally changed. Yeah. So it was bearish.
And I think it's
Yeah, so if I go
breaking
back,
up just a little bit. Let it catch up some.
oh, sorry,
No, you're good. One sec.
test. How's that? Yeah, so I was saying before the weekly candle closed under this range that it failed to break for the past month. So my bias for this whole week was sells. So I'm only really looking for sells unless I really see a bullish candle, like a bullish daily candle, which we haven't really got the past few days. If you look, we're just ranging. What's this Thursday, Wednesday? Yeah, we were just kind of ranging in here. So kind of only looking for sells.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I just go
So
back to the
really
30
just
minute.
kind of doing that top-down analysis and
So
just,
when I'm looking for,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, then yeah, then just looking for those levels. And so if I'm looking for sells, usually so if I was only seeing this at the moment, uh, I would only and this was my session. I'd only look for breakouts underneath, and then I would if it creates a top wick, then I would set sell stops to come down. I'm open to buys, but because I have a bearish bias, I would need a break above, and then it needs to form some sort of support before I enter buys, because mainly because my weekly bias is bearish, and
Mm-hmm.
also my session bias is also bearish. So I had this level, and this was what I was looking. So another setup that I like to trade is like fake outs. So usually I trade fake outs if so I'm in a bearish bias today this week. So this level here, I see that I'm expecting breakouts because GJ has a lot of like I only really trade gold and GJ, mainly GJ, and sometimes EU. But GJ had a lot of fake outs, and especially like if you can get your bias, like if usually your bias is correct, usually you can kind of anticipate it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the strong thing about fake outs is that if you can catch it, you can usually sell at the top of the range or
Yeah.
buy at the bottom. So this was a level that I was really interested in. So you can see this run up, and usually when things run up, you always kind of expect like a pullback. But if you see
Mm-hmm.
this 30-minute level that it's been respecting here in the past. 30-minute level. So it broke above, but there's a strong wick here.
Mm-hmm.
So it broke above, but I'm anticipating a fake out. So as I said, like if I'm going to look for buys, I'll need it to print something like break above, and then maybe another break above, and then maybe a bearish close, but supporting this resistance. And then I'll look for buys. But in
Okay.
this case, it did. So it just broke above, and then the next candle below. So that was my trigger to be like, okay, buy stop here, wait for it to form a top wick, and if it ever breaks these lows, then I'll manage here. So usually I go for usually I'll do 80% one for one, and then I'll try to get runners for 20% of my position. Is that the right math? 80% of my position, I usually do 1 to 1 or 1 to 2, depending on. I usually just aim for the next resistance level, and then the 20% I'll try to get runners.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
activated here. Now, what's this stuff? Yeah, so it's like a 20 pip. Yeah, 20 pip. I would have got out here.
Mm-hmm.
I think my runner got canceled here. So I usually trail my runners.
Mm-hmm.
Usually just trail every 50. Usually I trail every 30-minute candle. So yeah, I think I got
Okay.
stopped out here. This would have been the candle that I got stopped out for my runner.
And to
Yeah, that's kind of what
explain
this
that,
is. This
go ahead. I was just
sorry.
gonna say, like, to explain that in percentages, you're basically, I guess, say if you're risking 1%, you'll close
Mm,
like 0.8% at 1 to 1, and then 0.2 you'll let run into like that next level. Is that correct?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay, cool.
that's correct.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, do you feel like having that lower risk reward is more beneficial with firms?
In my experience, it's something that I'm trialing. I used to do like a lot more higher risk to reward, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like uh, I feel like for me, like 1 to 1 is fine.
Yeah,
Um,
more consistent.
because it's yeah, and at the end of the day, it's like it's whatever's in your game plan. Like some people, I see people that have high R&Rs,
Mm-hmm.
and as long as they're risking the right amount to like, if you're risking, if your R&R is 1 to 4, then you should be like, I guess you would expect in worst case scenario that you might lose like 3 and then win 1. So, you know, yeah, as long as it just depends what's in your plan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, got it. Yeah, that was a nice trade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in this week because there's a lot of news, which I'm still trying to get accustomed to. I haven't really traded many like market cycles, but this week has been tough, like because
Yeah, it
it's been very
has.
choppy, waiting for news. It's yeah,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
And are those the four
it's good
pairs that
learning,
you trade in your
good
watch
learning.
list?
Sorry.
Are those the four pairs that you trade that are in your watch list?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I just put AU. I don't really trade AU, but because I'm in Australia, I just like looking at it.
Okay.
I just looking, yeah. But yeah, I only usually trade DJ, gold, and EU.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I usually trade DJ, Asian, and London. Gold I only trade in New York, and EU I only trade in New York as well.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for sharing your screen and sharing how you view the thank you for sharing how you view the
that's
market.
right. That's right. That was the first time I had to show anyone, so sorry I'm not that
No, you're good. That was a great
sorry I wasn't
explanation.
so what's it called? So fluent.
No,
Yeah.
that was a good
Not as fluid,
explanation.
but yeah, I'll get better next one.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think like when you shared your screen, it kind of got a little bit choppy. So I'm just gonna let the audio and the video catch up a little bit before I hop back in.
Okay. Do you trade?
I do trade.
Oh, cool. Well, what do
Yeah.
you trade? What's kind of like
So I trade just
what do you
US
trade like?
30 and NOS 100.
Right. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of people trade that.
Yeah,
It's
those are my two pairs. I used to trade gold. That used to
yeah,
be like my bread and butter, but I switched over to NSCs.
yeah. I need to learn what is an indice? Like what is a US 30?
So US 30 is like the top 30 companies that are publicly traded in the US. So if you trade like indices, it's nice to kind of know about like the stocks that are within the indices, like the fundamental part. But I'm not a huge fundamental trader. I'm mainly just technicals.
Hmm.
I'm viewing it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I like it. It's more
But
volatile.
what happens if like a company drops to like the 31st and then like do the companies in the top 30 change at all?
I don't believe they really changed like often since they're like the top 30. I think if anything, it might change after their quarterly earnings. But
Hmm.
for the most part, I've seen the same companies in like the top 30.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Okay, so hopping back into it, how has trading influenced like other aspects of your life?
Um, well, the one with trading is you have to be consistent with
Hmm.
like if you're not consistent, and I found like if I find another part of my life to be consistent with, then it helps. Like, and that's something that I still need to work on. But I find like, yeah, if you find another part of your life that you can be consistent with, that also flows onto other parts.
Hmm.
So
Agreed.
I felt like that's really helped. So it's kind of been the inverse effect. Like me being consistent in trading has helped me be consistent in making sure, I play basketball once a week or,
Mm,
I go to the gym. But usually I'm hoping like, that will flip, that I will find practices and, disciplines to be disciplined and consistent so that it will affect my trading. Because at the moment, it's the other way. Like me being more consistent and like knuckling down in trading has helped other parts of my life be more consistent.
hmm. And do you, like you were saying that at least go to play basketball, I believe you said once a week, is that correct?
Yeah.
Right. Do you find like having other activities or things outside of trading is helpful for your psychology? And how so?
Oh, oh, for sure. I mean, I think trading's pretty lonely to be
Hmm.
honest, because and I think it's definitely easy to break rules because at the end of the day, because you're trading a market and we're all here to make money, like there's always that temptation to do one more trade to either, earn more money or make back money you lost. And I feel like, yeah, having activities away from trading um, is better. And at the end of the day, that's kind of like what we're all should be striving for. Like, I feel like if you quit your full-time job and you trade for like 10 hours, it's like the same thing.
Yeah,
Like, you
exactly.
may as well maybe go back to a job, probably less stressful.
Hmm.
More, yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms
I,
of psychology, for sure, like I'm pretty sure there's evidence to suggest that, we need to like physical activity, especially like
hmm.
your stress probably comes down. I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Yeah. And I feel like psychology is like an ongoing thing. Like even the best traders, they make mistakes. Like I had to like get it together today, like you just said, taking that one more trade to make it back. Um, so yeah, I completely agree that it's an ongoing process that you have to continue to learn. Um, have you read any books, trading books or psychology books that you found helpful?
Um, Not trading or psychology, but like there was a season before I had a baby that I used to love to read.
Okay.
Um, there's a book by there's this book by Simon Sinek. Actually, there's a couple books. Um, Actually, there's a podcast on one of his books called The Infinite Game. that kind of helped with like my mindset and the whole thing about like if I was to summarize the infinite game is just to have a broader perspective on what you do. Like at the end of the day, like this game that we're playing in regards to trading is you like the purpose of like people think to win in trading is like to have $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
But really like I think the if you broaden your horizon, it's just ensuring that you can trade another day. And if you have
Yeah.
that mindset, then you know, then your risk management should be in check. If you know, if you're thinking like you need to trade another day, then maybe you'll cut your losses smaller than what it should be. Maybe you'll keep your stop loss where it's supposed to be
Yeah.
rather than, you know,
Mm-hmm.
moving it. And I mean, we've all been there. Yeah.
Exactly.
But
No,
yeah,
I,
Simon
I
Sinek's a
love
good. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually love that because like you just said, like a lot of people hopping in, they're saying, okay, my goal is to make $1 million because I see that's what the next person is doing. But like you were
Mm,
just mentioning, it's very important to identify what is your personal goal. Like you mentioned, time freedom. Like it'll look different for everyone. So I think what you just said is very important for traders to understand. Yeah.
mm.
So for you, what is your next steps? Do you plan on getting more capital or like what are your next steps for trading?
Yeah. I mean, my goal is, hopefully by the end of next year, like I would like to, get seven figures. But I know to get there, like I definitely need to still improve like
Mm-hmm.
my trading. So, yeah, try not to rush it. So I'd say like my next step is, um, to really like knuckle down, get more data because I haven't been trading for that long. That means my sample size for like the data for my strategy isn't huge. So yeah, I would say like my short term, one, like my 1 year goal, like by the end
Mm-hmm.
of 2024, is to have enough data to prove that what I'm seeing in the market is correct. And then hopefully by that time I can scale to, hopefully seven figures. But,
Mm-hmm.
if not, like just anything that can support my family.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have any piece of advice for new traders that are just kind of getting started in the industry?
Um, yeah, I guess like it's a theme of what we've been talking about. I think really think about like why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the reason you're doing it is like if the root cause of it is greed or if it's fear or if it's rooted in like something that uh isn't good. I don't know if that's the right word, but if it's not virtuous or if it's not something that is long term, then I think this isn't for you
Mm-hmm.
because new traders like it's not a Lambo tomorrow kind of life. It's a lose, 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 probably lose for like
Lose,
a
lose,
year.
lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you stick to it, be consistent, get enough data and back test. Yeah, it's definitely an uncapped job or uncapped business that you can definitely tap into.
Mm-hmm. Okay, nice. Well, I think a lot of traders will benefit from this interview. I know I learned some things as well. So thank you so much for joining me today to answer a few questions.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in our next trader interview.